Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. Notre Dame, who was 5-7 entering today, lost by 22 or won by 22 against a Virginia team that Goodman guaranteed would win the ACC this year.
No, I
Lipscomb
never said
goes
that.
into Tallahassee and beats Florida State, and Wake Forest de-pantses Virginia Tech. They won 86-63. Henson, what the hell's going on in your conference, man?
Um, I watched the Virginia game, and this is supposed to be our best quote unquote team. When they got down like 9-0 in typical Virginia fashion, there was no sense of urgency. And then it became 13-4, then 18-6. And credit to Notre Dame. They hit some tough shots, a couple buzzer beaters. Stuff went the right way for them, but Virginia had every opportunity in the second half to come back. They cut it down, I think, 10 points. And Notre Dame just took off again. Burton is really good, especially when he has no pressure on him. Today, he had no pressure on him. He was splitting double teams. He was shooting a three with up 15. They looked surprisingly good today. I mean, I think Virginia had in the first half, they had 14 points on Notre Dame, who's defense is one of the worst defenses with 10 minutes left. So I'm going to chalk this up as just a bad game. It was a noon game in South Bend. Maybe they didn't, weren't ready for it. They didn't get up for it. Who knows? But yeah, the lack of the sense of urgency being down 20 was just kind of alarming to me from a perspective of just a basketball fan. Virginia's down 15, 20 points and they're running their, normal offense, just running the shot clock down and getting an end of the, it was baffling to me, frustrating really, because Notre Dame was definitely going to let them come back into the game. And I'm starting to say, look, if you can hop on Virginia about 12 points, you got a guaranteed victory. That's how I feel about Virginia right now.
Listen, you look at their losses. They were pounded by Wisconsin down in Florida earlier this year. They were pounded at Memphis. And now they get pounded by a Notre Dame team that came in. They were 250 in the net. Notre Dame was atrocious. Again, they just came off. I just saw Citadel. I love my guys from the Citadel. Love those guys. Rob does too. I'm going to go out with them here in Charleston after the new year. But ultimately, they lost to two SoCon teams in Citadel and Western Carolina. Marcus Shrewsbury had to call them out publicly for their lack of effort. And they responded. Give them credit, right? They responded. But I think it says way more about Virginia. And this was their worst loss to an ACC opponent since 2017 when they lost by 24 to Carolina. And this is a team that prides itself on its defense, and they got absolutely blitzed today. So their talent level, we've talked about it throughout the year, is not nearly what it has been in the past. And part of the problem with this Virginia program now is Tony Bennett has generally had an opportunity to build a program and get older. And now it's really hard to do that, right? You've got a lot of guys that he brought in a few years ago as part of a heralded class with Reece Beekman that transferred out earlier. They didn't stick around. So I think that's part of the problem, whether it's NIL or, they want to go other places for bigger roles. They're not willing to wait like they were years ago in Charlottesville to develop. Whatever it is, life has changed in Charlottesville, and I just don't know if Tony Bennett's going to be able to change with it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it too. It feels like I said in the preseason, I'll be very interested to see if Tony Bennett has lost his fastball. And I don't know if it's necessarily that as much as it is the way that he can run his program effectively and the way that he knows how to do it is just not something I think is going to work in 2024. Now, if you are going to tell me that he's going to find the guys that will be willing to redshirt, will be willing to play 2 minutes as freshmen, 4 minutes as sophomores, come out here as juniors and play 15 minutes and then end up being all ACC draft picks as seniors, then yeah, okay, I'm back in on Virginia. I just don't know if those guys exist. I don't know how many pleders are going to be willing to sit around and do nothing for
well, look at even Caden Shedrick. Rob, look at even Caden Shedrick, right? he didn't wait around another year because ultimately he wanted a bigger offensive role. So he went to Texas instead of sticking around for one more year. You never, ever would have thought that were possible from a Tony Bennett program before.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John. It's tough because you look at the pros, you know, you got Malcolm Brogdon, who's actually one of my really good friends. I mean, we could say the Tony Bennett system kind of shielded him from how good he was. I mean, when I first got to play with him in practice, I was like, whoa, like you could do all this, right? Even, you know, DeAndre Hunter, who got paid with the Hawks, you know, we didn't know what he was. We know what he could be. And I think he turned out to be a lot better maybe than we thought as well. So, you know, kids are looking at the pros. Kids are looking at, you know, if I'm playing a game in the 50s, how many points am I putting up? Am I putting up the right amount of stats? Because it's a very slim margin when you're playing in the 50s, right? Because now Virginia's kind of struggling. Reece Beekman's averaging 12 or 13 on a team that plays with a little more pace. Reece is 17, 18 point a night guy. So now that looks really bad. So he's gonna have to figure it out. Try to, you know, I think I know he's not going to change. He won a championship, but he's the pin down. He didn't have anybody that can get past anybody one-on-one. He doesn't have any kind of impactful rollers like a Shedrick kind of was that could put pressure on the rim. It's going to be tough sled for them coming down the stretch in the ACC. Then again,
well, that's the thing, John. They might be
all right.
Yeah, when he won the title, right? Like, what are they known for? They're known for running the blocker mover, which for people that are listening is basically like you have one guy that has the ball and you got another dude running off of a pin down on either side of him, right? And the guy that runs off the pin down and gets the ball, then you get set flare screen. It's basically like you have two screeners, two guys running off of picks, and one guy with the ball, and you just kind of like rotate through them all, right? And that's what he's famous for, which is like a very old school offense to run. When they won the title, they didn't really run all that much blocker mover. They were running like a ball screen continuity where they put the ball in Ty Jerome's hands and said, all right, Cook, go make a play. And I feel like they've kind of gone away from that. And part of the reason they've gone away from that is because they lost a guy that was an NBA player as a point guard that was a veteran, right? And I don't know if you're going to be able to get that.
And Kyle Guy.
Yeah. Kyle Guy, and they had DeAndre Hunter. And like Anthony Gill was on they had some really, really good players up and down. Braxton Key played in the NBA. He was the 5-man on that team. Or played some minutes at the 5. He was a 4-man. But I don't know if you're going to be able to stockpile the amount of NBA talent that he had on those teams that won the title and be able to play a style offensively that could allow you to win when you are going to be rotating through guys every 2 or 3 years. Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.